We showed you the yin and yang in the Grand Designs garden, and wasn't that awesome? Here we are, and we're going to show you just how easy it is to make. What do we need? A bit of builder's line or any kind of twine that you have, as long as it doesn't stretch, okay? That's the secret. We need a nail, and we need some polystyrene. This is going to make your life so much easier. First thing is we want to decide the actual circumference of our yin and yang circle that we're going to be making. All we're going to do is pop the nail in, okay, push it in, right? We've made a loop there, we've made a loop here, and all we're going to do is then go around to create our circle. Now, of course, if you knew exactly what you wanted, you could of course use a lid from, I don't know, the dog's food bowl, something like that. You could use literally anything that you want to create your circle. So from there, you take your nail out because you've got your center point. That's where it was over there, your hole inside the polystyrene. And at this point, we now want to cut the shape out of our polystyrene. We're just going to make a first incision. Right, Garth, hit it. Okay, Garth, I'm not going to make you cut that whole thing out because luckily enough we cut one earlier. Haha. So, have a look here. This is exactly it. There it is. That was our circle. Now watch, this is the magic part. Pop him out. Okay. So this is going to be your mold. So we've got that part. Here's the part that goes inside. Now what we need to do is work out our shape of our yin and yang. And I'm sure that there are various ways of calculating it, but we're going to show you a very simple method of how to do it in a freehand kind of way. Okay, so we know where our center point is. All we need is something as a straight edge to be able to get a line that's going to go through the middle to create two halves, two parts essentially of our polystyrene mold. So there we go, like that and like that. Okay, so that's what we've got there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go kind of like a freehand there, and come down to there. Next up, we're going to use the jigsaw again to cut along the line that we've marked. So we've got two halves, and you're going to think, well, why on earth are you cutting it in half, Tanya? Because I'll tell you and I'll show you how easy it's going to make your life in a second. So, Garth, you want to whack this guy in half here for me, please? Awesome stuff, Garth. So, there we have it. One whole circle and pang, two halves, groovy. So these little guys fit perfectly back into the hole because of course that's where we cut them out. And now the last thing that we remember from the yin and yang little paver was that there was a hole in one of them which was filled with beautifully colored little pebbles of fine, fine dust. And all you need for that is you can take a cup. We've just taken a bit of PVC piping here, and you can literally put that wherever you want your little circle to be. And all we need to do now, Garth, is get our concrete mixture ready to go into our mold. Let's go do it. Right, because these are stepping stones and we're going to actually want to walk on them, you've got to make them pretty strong. So we're going to be using a 2-in-1 mixture. So now think about this carefully. It's going to be 2 volumes of the sand and the stone and 1 volume of the dry cement. Okay, so I'm going to be filling up this bucket as my measuring tool. Right, okay, in he goes, straight in, and then 2 parts of stone. Now you'll notice the stone that we're using is a very fine stone. It's a 13mm stone. Go for it, Garth, whack him in. And we're using a small stone because the volume of our pavers is not very big. Next up, you know the drill. Yep. Let's get it mixed. You happy, Garth?
I'm happy with it.
Great. Okay, Garth, let's get the water in. Hold me back when you need to. Right.
Okay, Tanya.
Okay, let's go for it.
I'm going to go in and get it.
Cool, Garth. And how do we know that it's all right and good to go? Well, it's that thick Greek yogurt. Let's get it off to our molds. We have put this on a table. This is our level board that we are going to leave it here to dry, because once you've thrown this, you are not going to pick it up and walk off anywhere, all right? It needs to stay here to be able to dry. Okay, cool. So we've got this little oak, and Garth, I think he should be
right there.
Bang, about there. Okay. I'm just going to hold it in place, and you want to whack some of the concrete mixture inside here. Let me give you a hand there. Awesomeness, awesome. Okay, pull it round. All right, folks, our concrete mixture is in here. I'm just using the little trowel. Get it in the corners, make sure you get rid of all the air pockets. There we go. We can use the mallet. Just give it a bit of a tap, bang it around a bit, and then we can use the wooden float just to smooth things off. Okay, it's looking pretty cool, Garth. You happy? Now all we need is a sponge. You got one handy there, Garth? Cool, right. And then we're just gonna neaten it off and clean it off on the edges. So that should do the trick. Right, he's good to go. Lacquer in place. So let's do the other one, Garth. All right, little oakie in place. I've got him. Lovely stuff. There we go, just to finish it off. Garth, he should be in place by now, hey? Yeah, okay. Fixed up. Now all we do, leave it to dry. If you see that there's going to be a bit of rain, cover it with some black plastic. It's advisable. The longer you leave it to cure, of course, the stronger your mixture becomes. And that's ultimately what we want. So leave it to cure, and that's going to take a good few days. So Garth, all we're doing now is waiting for it to dry.
Yes, Tanya, another thing is, I'd say about 3 hours time.
Mm-hmm.
You just come here and just turn your PVC pipe a little bit.
Okay.
And you can come back a little bit later on again.
Right.
And you just make sure your pipe is loose.
Okay.
Because we don't want to leave the pipe in, we want to remove it.
Okay. All right, folks, so our yin and yang pavers have had enough time to dry. We're now going to take them out of our mold. Garth, I think the easiest way is actually going to be if we just work it here. There we go. Just give it a bit of a push. There we go. Try that side on there. Might have to give it a cut here. Garth, I got the stubborn one.
Yep.
Aha! Awesome. Because while these guys were drying, we managed to twist them a bit, so it just loosens them off. Now, when it comes time to take them out they come, good and proper, and we've got our little holes, which we're going to add in the fine little pebbles like you saw in the yin and yang garden. Right, folks, this is where we've decided to put our little yin and yang paver right in the middle of my aloe and succulent garden. So all we've got to do, because I've got gravel, just rake away some of the gravel to make a space. There we go. Just a tip, folks, you'll notice that underneath here I've reached my fabric, and that's the weed guard fabric that I put down literally in this entire garden to make sure that no weeds start popping through. And it also is a good protective layer for my pebbles so they don't get mixed into all the mud that's underneath here. So, yeah, I think we're good to go. Garth, have you got a yin for me? Yes. Awesomeness, beautiful. Okay, he's gonna go down here, and let's find the yang. Beautiful. Nice feel. There we go. We can get them a little bit closer. And then, just like you saw in the garden, the little in-between bits we're filled with some colourful pebbles. I'm sticking with one colour. I just think I like the look of just something single. In goes over here. These are just little stones from our local garden centre. And then, Garth, let's just fill these pebbles just back around it. There we have it, guys. Garth, it looks pretty cool.
Very cool, Tanya.
I like it. And you know what? If you get bored with this colour, you can just change it. You could even plant a little succulent inside each one. I like that idea. Yeah. Well, folks, there you go. Yin and yang. I know that you too can do it in your garden. Create something fun, different. You know, you can even stain this. You can really go wild. So I'll be the yin, you be the yang, and you go make the pavers. The question was from Desiree from the Eastern Cape. Now, we know in the Eastern Cape they have extreme conditions and they've also gone through a terrible drought. So the question was, what is water wise and how should I plant, and should I only be planting succulents? Well, Desiree, the good news is that the answer is no. You don't only have to plant succulents. Yes, by all means, these guys are very water wise that are around me. They don't require much at all, love lots of sun. But there are various other methods that you can use in terms of your garden practice that is going to make sure that you don't use so much water. What is that? Well, the most important thing is mulching. Mulching just with the stone, like I've used here, reduces the amount of water that your plants use. Of course, it could be then bark chips that you get from your local garden centre. It could also then be the lawn clippings. Basically, it's a layer of soil or of organic material around your plants, because that's going to stop the water transpiration. Another very important thing is about the zoning of plants. Make sure that you put plants together that like growing together, that don't need so much water. You know, it's no use putting an aloe and then maybe a grass that really needs lots of water that likes growing on the pond margins together. Those guys just aren't going to do. You're going to be overwatering one and underwatering the other. So it comes down to kind of common sense. But by all means, most importantly, it's about mulch, mulch, mulch. Folks, that's all we've got time for this week. I hope you're inspired with the yin and yang as much as we have been. Take care and happy gardening.
Make 15% more concrete from every bag. The Gardener is brought to you by PPC.